it's Sigwen's Fair and we're back with another video. What are we doing today?
So today we're going to be talking about a video that's circulating during the weekend where apparently black people are afraid to compete with white people in a meritocracy. But before we get into it, let's just check out this clip first.
Yeah.
And then you tell me what you think.
White South Africans excel at academics and competition. And what we need to therefore understand and acknowledge that competing with us on merit remains a scary prospect that most black South Africans won't support. It's hard to say that. And it's also hard to say we seem to be surviving BEE.
So what are your thoughts on all of that?
That's crazy. So what I want to understand is he trying to say that, I don't know, white people have this like mega mind, basically. Like, is he trying to base it on that and maybe ignoring, like, you know, the situation surrounding why they do well academically, like the socioeconomic reasons why they do that, the historical reasons why they do that, why they are at an advantage than black people? Or is he really trying to say that genetically they just do better and therefore will do better even, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I think that statement is just crazy. We know the reasons why a lot of white people do better academically. Not because, well, in my opinion, unless he's saying otherwise, not because they've got this genius brain that black people don't have, but because of the situations that surround why they do well. They have been in an economic advantage over black people for years in South Africa, and a lot of it is still continuing because of apartheid. I hate that we have to keep saying this like we're broken records, and we keep having to say this as though we're talking to people who are not living the same reality in the same country, who don't even know what's happening. Like, it's absurd.
It's either he's insinuating that just white people are better, which is like a supremacist
It's a
mindset,
supremacist, yes.
which is what I'm taking it as.
Yes.
It's like white people are better, so they don't want to compete with us. So they have
Yeah,
to make all
because
these laws.
yes, all these laws because they're done.
They have to make all these laws just to
Yes.
balance it out because we're better than them. That's what it sounds like to me. And
That's crazy.
it's always funny hearing meritocracy, billionaires especially. It's always the billionaires that always talk about wanting a merit system or
Yes.
meritocracy, and I wonder why. But since my voice is gone, there's gonna be a video now that I'll play that perfectly explains why billionaires want meritocracy.
If I look around this room of Oxford undergraduates, 40% of you were privately educated in a country in which 7% of students have private educations. 80% of you come from meaningful social and economic privilege. As we heard a moment ago, at my university, Yale, there are more students from the top 1% of the income distribution than from the entire bottom half. Now, my university's admissions process is corrupt, and failures of meritocracy might explain it. But Oxford's is not corrupt. You can't buy a place here. There is no meaningful legacy preference. And yet, nevertheless, you're all rich, and you all come from privileged backgrounds, or almost all. Now, why is that? The reason is straightforward. Famous US baseball player once said, "Practice doesn't make perfect, perfect practice makes perfect." Meritocracy, in fact, is not, as we just heard, that advantage turns on effort and talent. It turns on effort and talent, and one more thing, investment. It turns on how much is invested in developing a child's talent using their own efforts. And the investment that different kinds of children get in meritocratic societies is absolutely enormously different. In the United States, the richest private schools spend over $75,000 per pupil per year on educating their children, in a society in which public schools on average spend about $12,000. In this country, the richest private schools spend over £30,000 a year educating their children. These massive investments produce massive differences in childhood achievement. not because of legacy admissions, but because when you get trained, you get good at things. And the result, therefore, is that a meritocracy, when it works as designed, favors those whose parents are in a position best to invest in them, who have the money, who have the skills, and who have the free energy and space to do so. And believe me, meritocrats give rich parents the ability to do so. I'll get it in 1 second. When Michael Young invented the term meritocracy, the richest in England had only half the share of national income that they have today. The richest 10% of earners made twice as much as the poorest 10% of earners. Today, they make 4 times as much. A graduate of this university will make 50% more in her first year out than a graduate of the University of York. So meritocracy creates an inequality in which rich parents have the opportunity to spend all this money on their children, which is why meritocratic children are also rich children. That's the first point. Meritocracy excludes most of society from meaningful advancement.
How much you invest in your child is very important, and it plays a very big factor in how competitive your child can be. So when you live in a country where one race on average earns 6 times more than the other, you'll get the outcome that one race will generally perform better than the other.
Absolutely.
It's really as simple as that. Merit systems do not work the way people think it works. Investment is very important.
Yes.
That's why in sports, the team that generally spends more than any other team generally does better than any other team. So
it's because of what's being put into it.
Yeah, it's why in sports like F1, the team that spends the most in research and development, like Mercedes. Mercedes on average spends more than any other team, is winning.
Like raw natural talent can only take you so far.
It's so bad in F1 that they have to cap budgets to make the sport competitive. Because Mercedes are just spending way too much money, so they have a budget cap.
It would only make sense.
Look anywhere in sports, soccer, the teams that spend the most generally do well. In any form of whatever society you look at, even in academics, if you look at the best performing schools in South Africa, it's generally the schools where the tuition is the highest.
Yes, that have sporting facilities, that have good technology, that have, all of these resources at their disposal.
So if you take that into consideration and also take into consideration our socioeconomic standing, where most black people are in poverty and most white people are not. Like when I first saw this thing, I was very disgusted by it, because it's like you and your privilege, you know very well how privileged you are.
I was born extremely lucky and extremely privileged. Born into a wealthy, loving family. Parents are still married, still alive. Born into great wealth and given every opportunity.
Imagine.
You know very well what your parents and what your grandparents did for you to get your privilege. And then you wanna come tell the black people that suffered from what your parents did, to say
that they done basically
that they cannot compete
and they can't compete with you. How are we supposed to compete with you?
Like, understand? I just want the reason why this thing disgusted me so much is that your parents and your grandparents made sure that black people cannot compete with them economically at all.
And excluded them, and literally was not trying to beat around the bush by and said, black kids not allowed, black kids can't do this, black kids for whites only, for Europeans only.
So they created a system where only white people can build wealth. They're the ones who are afraid to compete with black people. Your parents,
like literally, and they were not even hiding it.
Now you come out here as the privileged offspring, saying that black people cannot compete because your parents made it that way.
Yeah.
So that's what made it very irritating for me.
That I can't compete with you on merit. They were like, they can't compete with our grandparents on merit. Yeah. So they shut them out economically. They shut them out.
So again, it's also another factor of like just completely disregarding the black experience.
Yes.
A white child doesn't have to wake up and think about poverty,
No.
think about what
What
to
are they
eat,
gonna eat? They haven't eaten and they still need to study.
how far they have to travel to school.
Going to school in winter with in classes with broken windows.
So most white kids usually get driven to school, and it's like less than 30 minutes away from where they stay. A lot of black kids have to walk 10 kilometers at a time through dangerous terrains,
They don't have 15 minutes.
risking their lives just to get to school. Where you have situations where children die trying to get to school.
Crossing rivers.
La lesikhona isemfuleni lapho kuwela khona izingane uma ziya esikoleni or noma zihamba ziya eclinic.
Uyasihlukumeza kakhulu lo mfula. Abantwana sebeze bafunela iveni manje abafundi e-high school. Nalaba abancane abanye abazali abanawo amandla okuqasha iveni. Abantwana bawela khona kunjalo la bayaphelezelwa. Bayoweliswa kokunye kumzali mhlawumbe usetohweni ingane izosala iwele nabanye nezinye izingane. Kodwa late ingane ziya late sewehlile umfula ngesikhathi kuyaqhutsheka esikoleni kuyafundwa izingane zigada amanzi ukuthi ehle. Azikwazi ukufunda izingane.
We have situations where children die in pit toilets.
Did you know that there are still 3,932 schools that still use pit toilets? Quality education is one of the most powerful ways to give our children a bright future. Yet millions of learners and teachers are affected by poor sanitation in our schools. The presence of pit toilets in schools not only violates the right to basic sanitation and quality education, but also the right to health, dignity, and threatens the right to life. There is a pattern of children losing their lives because of this lack of proper infrastructure. Recently, a 3-year-old drowned in a pit toilet at an early childhood development center in the Eastern Cape.
And like, even though that's not my experience, but I at least know, and I'm sensitive to knowing that that's a reality in our country. Like, I never had to cross rivers, but I know that what you're saying is rubbish. Like, what he's saying is rubbish. Like, I can't say that I'm I can't say that, you know, to someone like that. I can't say you can't compete with me on merit because I just generally do better than you. Why am I doing better than them?
It's that part that really got to my skin. It's like just disregarding what black kids have to go through just to even participate. That's why a lot of black kids drop out. It's too much. Going to school is too much. So you have a high dropout rate, while in the white community, dropout rate is very low. Like, you need to consider
How are people
all
like
things.
this even human? Like, I just don't understand.
So, I don't know, man.
I don't understand these.
Is this what we're going to be doing all 2025, I mean? Is this what we're going to be doing? All 2025, we're just going to be dealing with nonsense like this.
Kidding.
Somebody tell Penwell to get his man, correct him, because things are starting to get out of hand. This is one of the first people who came out to say in South Africa we make everything about race, and he hates that. We should stop making everything about race, and then he comes says things like this.
And you keep banging on about black, white, green, yellow, shapes and sizes, Indians and coloreds, on and on and on. Can't we have a conversation, please, where you don't look through racial lenses? I'm just trying to get you to stop banging on about racial issues and looking through racial lenses. That's all it is.
A few moments later.
White South Africans excel at academics and competition.
The gist of it is that white people just have a lot more to invest in their kids.
Yes.
That's why their kids do.
That's why they do better.
That's just the gist of it. They're not better than us in any way, shape, or form. In actuality, a lot of us went to school with these people.
And trust me, we know there's no special there.
They're not special.
We work with them. We know there's nothing special there.
So again, saying that black people are just afraid to compete with you guys on a merit basis.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Forgetting the context.
And disrespectful.
So I guess we gotta try to stop this shit because it's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand.
It is.
But it is what it is. You guys let us know what you think about this whole situation.
Let us know.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And keep watching. Goodbye.
We'll check you guys in the next one.